Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10 with me, Mohammed Amin Carlos. Well, 4 men were arrested by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, or MACC, for impersonating as its senior officers and also as deputy public prosecutor to solicit bribes purportedly to help settle cases being investigated by the commission. Well, 3 of them, including the mastermind known as Dato Roy, who claimed to be an MACC director, were arrested in an operation at a hotel in Putrajaya at about 4:30 p.m. yesterday. Now, the 4th suspect was arrested at his house in Malacca at 8:30 p.m. yesterday. Now, the 4 suspects, aged between 39 and 54, included a company owner and a company director, and in remand for 6 days until 22nd December to facilitate MACC's investigation. The remand order was issued today by Magistrate Shahwira Abdul Halim in Putrajaya. Well, according to an MACC source, the 4 men were said to have solicited bribe allegedly to change to a lighter offence the charge made against the complainant in the case, as well as to lift a freeze on their bank accounts that were frozen by the commission. Well, intelligence results also found that members of the group entered the compound of the MACC headquarters to take pictures of them to convince victims that they are MACC officers. The source added that their movement was recorded by the CCTV camera at the MACC headquarters. Well, MACC has also ascertained the identity of a woman who is a member of the group to assist in the investigation and is tracking her down. MACC Intelligence Director Dato Azmi Kamaruzaman, who confirmed the arrest, said the case is being investigated under Section 16 of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act. Well, Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin has told the Dewan Rakyat today that the priority list on who gets to be inoculated first will be announced soon. Well, according to him, the selection of the Pfizer vaccine was based on the interim report of the clinical trial that shows a 95% effectiveness in preventing COVID-19 infection. Well, the minister said the government also had access to data to assess its quality, safety and level of effectiveness. Khairi added that the vaccine also obtained the emergency use authorization from 7 countries, including the United Kingdom, the United States, Bahrain, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Mexico and Singapore. However, he said the decision to use the vaccine in Malaysia is still subject to registration and approval from the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Division, or NPRA, of the Ministry of Health, the MOH.
Jawatankuasa Khas Akses Bekalan Vaksin COVID-19 JKJAV telah ditubuhkan dengan objektif untuk memastikan bekalan vaksin COVID-19 diperoleh dengan segera, selamat dan sempurna. JKJAV bertujuan menyediakan rangka kerja dan pelan perolehan serta pengagihan vaksin COVID-19 apabila ia diluluskan untuk kegunaan di Malaysia.
Apart from the COVID-19 vaccine from Pfizer, the minister said Malaysia has also joined the COVAX facility, which guarantees access to the vaccine supply of 10% of the country's population. The JKJAV committee is currently considering other vaccine candidates who are in phase 3 of clinical trials for use in Malaysia. And now for the COVID-19 updates. Well, the Health Ministry today reported 1,220 new positive cases in the past 24 hours. And according to a statement by its Director General, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, well, more than half of the cases reported were in Klang Valley. And Selangor recorded 368 new cases, followed by Kuala Lumpur, 247 cases. Meanwhile, 135 cases, or 11.1% of the cases reported, were related to prison clusters. Overall, 41 active clusters nationwide recorded an increase in cases, including the 3 newly identified clusters today, recording 155 new cases. Well, only 6 of the cases reported today are import cases. Well, this brings the cumulative number of positive COVID-19 infections in Malaysia to 89,133. In a related development, 1,297 cases made a recovery today and were discharged, bringing the total number of recoveries up to 74,030. However, the MOH reported 2 deaths in Sabah and another in Johor in the past 24 hours, and the death toll currently stands at 432. Well, the Johor Police contingent has crippled 9 unlicensed money lending syndicates, or Along, with the arrest of 41 individuals throughout this year. Now, its police chief, Dato' Ayub Khan Maidin Piche, said the suspects, 40 local men and 1 Vietnamese woman aged between 23 and 46, were arrested under the Prevention of Crime Act 1959, also known as POCA. Explaining further, he said 10 of the suspects will place 2-year detention order, 21 individuals under 2-year surveillance order, while the remaining 10 under remand order.
Semua suspek yang tangkap terlibat dalam kegiatan Alung dan dengan itu dengan mengiklankan dan mempromosikan pinjaman tanpa lesen serta melakukan pelbagai perbuatan khianat seperti simbah cat, khianat dengan api serta urutan jenayah.
Dato' Ayub Khan added that a total of 16 individuals in the state aged between 22 and 56 were also arrested under POCA for being involved with gangsterism activities. On another note, the Johor Police Chief said the contingent have arrested 4 policemen who allegedly smuggled drugs into the lockup at the Kota Tinggi Police Headquarters. Well, he said the suspects were arrested on 10th December and 2 of them tested positive for methamphetamine.
Telah digerakkan untuk bertindak secara proaktif dalam menangani isu salah laku dengan cara membuat pemeriksaan urin, pemeriksaan rekod jenayah, tata tertib, semakan latar belakang dan anggota termasuk anggota sukarelawan polis ataupun PBR dan serbuan ke atas maklumat yang diterima berkaitan dengan pegawai dan anggota.
The 4 suspects aged between 28 and 36 were detained under Section 3, Subsection 1 of the Dangerous Drugs for Special Preventive Measures Act 1985. Dato' Ayub Khan also reported that over 30% of 263 policemen in 4 stations and 1 police headquarters had poor integrity records.
Kesemua mereka telah dikenal pasti dan akan mengikuti program My Liability yang melibatkan sesi kaunseling dan runding cara oleh bahagian agama dan kaunseling ataupun bakar. Kerana dikuatiri mereka ini akan melakukan jenayah berulang dan jika perlu mereka akan ditukarkan.
Well, the body of a fisherman who went missing after he reportedly fell into the sea was found at 7:50 a.m. today. Well, according to Pulau Pinang Fire and Rescue Department Senior Enforcement Officer 1 Muhammad Termizi Majafar, the body of the victim, Khairul Azhar Muhammad, was found within 500 meters of buoy number 6 from the location where the victim fell. He added that the department, as well as the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency (MMEA) personnel, obtained information on the location of the body by a group of fishermen, which were also part of the search party.
Pihak bomba bersama APMM telah mengambil mayat mangsa dan dibawa ke jeti Polis Marine dan seterusnya diserahkan kepada pihak polis untuk peringkat seterusnya lah.
Previously, Khairul Azhar Muhammad, aged 32, was reported to have fallen into the sea on Tuesday after the boat he was on capsized due to a collision with a buoy at the waters of Port Sweetenham. Search and rescue operations have been conducted with a search area spanning 18.82 nautical miles, expanded to 26.06 nautical miles today. Coming up, medical glove exports expected to hit 29.8 billion pairs this year. But first, well, the government has no plans to provide stamp duty exemption for transfer of property from parents to children at this time. And Finance Minister Tengku Dato' Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdulaziz said based on the existing procedure, the exemption of 100% in stamp duty is only for transfer of assets between husband and wife. Elaborating further, he said the government has announced a remission of 50% in stamp duty for transfer of property based on love between parents and children. This is to encourage property transfer between parents and children to be done when they are still alive to avoid problems in property claims after the death of one of the parties concerned. During the minister's question time in Dewan Rakyat today, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said the remission of the stamp duty was also intended to reduce cases of inheritance claim in court.
Permintaan duty stamp ini terpakai bagi surat cara pindah milik harta tak alih yang disempurnakan pada atau selepas 1 Januari 2020 dan terhad bagi penerima harta tanah yang bertaraf warga negara Malaysia sahaja.
Well, Malaysia will benefit from its participation in the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, known as RCEP, better known as RCEP, as it enhances economic integration and facilitation between ASEAN countries and their dialogue partners, namely China, Japan, South Korea, Australia and New Zealand. Well, Deputy International Trade and Industry Minister Senator Dato' Lim Ban Hong said each RCEP member state has its own advantages, whether in terms of raw materials, expertise and technology, or skilled and quality human resources, or a large market. Commenting further on the matter, Dato' Lim said the RCEP would open up wider market access through the elimination and reduction of tariffs and non-tariffs harmonization of technical standards and regulations, as well as economic cooperation, which will facilitate cross-border trade for locally produced products.
Penyertaan dalam RCEP akan mengukuhkan aktiviti nilai serantau melalui dengan izin rules of origin yang lebih mudah digunakan, dan seterusnya ini akan mengukuhkan integrasi syarikat-syarikat tempatan dalam rantaian nilai dan juga dalam rantaian bekalan global supply chain dengan izin untuk lebih berdaya saing di pesada antarabangsa dan seterusnya menjadi syarikat yang bertaraf global.
He also said the RCEP would make it easier for Malaysian companies to obtain raw materials for their manufacturing process. He added that local service providers, including e-commerce, can also enjoy greater market access in terms of cross-border supply and create a commercial presence in the RCEP region, as it is home to 2.2 billion people, or 1/3 of the world's population. Well, the country's exports for medical gloves is expected to hit 29.8 billion pairs by the end of this year. And according to Minister at the Prime Minister's Department of Special Functions, Datuk Sri Redzwan Mat Yusof, this is based on significantly increased demand for personal protection equipment, or PPE, and medical gloves due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He said this trend is in line with high global demand for medical gloves, which is expected to surpass 360 billion pairs this year, compared to 296 billion pairs last year.
The market, as you mentioned earlier, is growing tremendously. Even you have a vaccine, because the norms that most countries are adopting, people will not run away from using either surgical glove, examination gloves, or simple rubber gloves.
Currently, the construction of Masing rubber glove manufacturing plants in the federal capital is proceeding as per schedule and is expected to be able to start operating by April 2021. The first line of manufacture is expected to begin operating in the second quarter of next year, followed by 6 more in the third quarter. COVID-19 vaccination operation starts in Saudi Arabia. That and more coming up. News now. Johor Darul Takzim's football club became the first football club in Southeast Asia to collaborate with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, starting next season. Well, the one-year collaboration is expected to boost the name of JDT and the country to even greater heights.
Of our partnership.
JDT owner Tengku Ismail Sultan Ibrahim said the partnership serves as a token of recognition for the Southern Tigers while benefiting the development of children nationwide. UNICEF has also conducted thorough processing and efforts to obtain permission to forge a joint effort with the Super League champions.
I think they are the biggest, and also they have done so much in the world. And at the end of the day, the children, macam I handle youth in Johor, tetapi the children are the future leaders of tomorrow. So to make this country a better place for the future, I mean, bukan saja this country, in fact the world, I think it is the most suitable partnership with JDT's agenda.
We had a very, very visionary discussion with His Royal Highness, and we agreed that children is our future, but they need investment today. And we also believe that sports is not only a competition or not only a medal. Sports is a great tool for development.
The partnership is expected to develop mentally and physically healthy children to be responsible Malaysians. Meanwhile, Tengku Ismail also hinted that the UNICEF logo may appear in front of the team's jersey for next season's competition.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Sorry for remanded for impersonating as MACC officers and DPP. Will join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon on TV2. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.